That's a very hard thing to just feel from words. And how do you teach that? So I kind of teach everybody like a kid and just try and find the dumbest. I'm a firm believer in like left curving everything, like just taking it to the dumbest principle that you can. So just dumbing it down to the simplest thing that makes them try and get the aha moment with them around what things feel, and whether that's words. I mean, a lot of times it's just drills. You try and break things down to a simple component. For snatching, it would be like a high hang squat snatch where you have like no redip. You just start at the high hang, drive up, and then you have to pull underneath the bar. And that usually, then people are like, oh, okay, I get this. I don't feel this when I normally snatch. And then you can help them get it. But I think that's an important thing to understand around coaching and coaching kids is how hard it is or coaching adults. Kids, it's a little bit easier, I think, because you're already talking to them in a very dumbed down manner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then adults, I think that the best thing is to just talk to them in the most dumbed down manner that you can and try and express what things feel like, not what they should do. In my English classes, they would say, show, don't tell.
Makes sense. We have a term in the Army called breaking it down Barney style. And it's kind of like a degrading way of saying it, but like, we're going to break it down Barney style, which just means like literally step by step, easy. Like, you don't need to have graduated high school to understand what I'm about to teach you, like just make it very simple,
Yeah.
Simple and easy to understand. But you've coached kids. I mean, you coached me like in the gym here, like a little bit. And actually what you had just said was what he had like shown me when I was like trying to learn, just like, I'm like, I don't know how to do any.
Oh, the day we did the cleans.
Yeah. Like I hadn't done Olympic lifts that someone has shown me. I've kind of played around with them just myself, but like I have the wherewithal to know, if I do this too many times, I'm going to be having a bad habit. So like, I'll see it and I'm like, oh, I'll try a little bit with like minimal weight, but I've never been confident in just doing it. So
yeah, they're so complex, which is why I enjoy them so much. And it was now like Pitt soccer I haven't been in the weight room in a while, but like when I was on their staff, they weren't doing Olympic lifts anymore, and rightfully so. Maybe I don't know why a snatch would correlate to soccer really, but
have a soccer player snatch.
No, but we did it, and I'm glad because I learned how to do it. And that's something I think about with CrossFit is like if I was starting CrossFit now and I didn't have any experience with Olympic lifting, like how frustrating that would be, because that's a long timeline to then get to the point where you're then proficient, especially at this time, like starting at 28 or whatever. And I don't know, that was a long road. I mean, I used to, after learning in college, I had a barbell and plates at my parents' house, and we had a flat like patio, and I used to go out there and I would just rip cleans and snatches and watch myself do them. And, there was a time where it's like feeling the body contact. Like there's so many different little aspects to it that, to your point, it is like you can say it, sure. But there's that very formulaic way of saying it to where someone's going to actually be like, okay, I feel what you're saying.
Sometimes it's better when you get a blank canvas because you can start at first principles and just say to someone like, okay, hey, listen, here's the first thing that we're going to understand. There's an optimal bar path and you're going to move your body around it. And that's like, people are just like, oh, aha moment, like, oh, well, how come I didn't think of that? And then you can start from that point instead of, that's, I was learning power cleans on my own. Like I'm just ripping the barbell around. Most people think when they first start, like that you're almost like kettlebell swinging it off your hip, but really you want that bar path to be as vertical as possible. I think that sometimes starting with people, that can be a good thing and then dealing with adults, then they're like, no. Like I'm like, my guy, like, let's relax. I'm trying to help you here. Yeah. That's probably the hardest thing about working with adults is to getting them to understand that you're on their side. I think that a lot of times people will have, I don't think a direct idea that you're trying to hold them back, but they have like a conflicting idea of what should be done. And then that makes like an adversarial relationship in that they think that they should be doing it one way and your way is going to hold them back. And so then because of that, I think that they think that your way is going to like basically handicap their progress. And I don't know. I guess maybe they could be right, but
I think sometimes people just aren't ready to hear it from you, And like I had a new client join, and he was telling me, he's like, I want to start with core. I'm like, okay, why? He's like, well, I've never seen my abs. I'm like, okay, well, you can do crunches all you want, but like that's not really the most efficient way to get you there, you know? And then like he's still telling me, like I gave him what his program looked like. He's like, there's not a lot of abs on here. And I'm like, listen, this is why. And I mean, that's it. Like they have their own idea of what it should look like. And then they're coming to the professional and they're like, I want to do this, but it has to be the way I want it to. I'm like, well, what are we doing here in the first place? You know, like,
What do you just want me to write the program that you want to write?
yeah. Like if you know what you were doing, why didn't you do it?
Yeah. I think that building trust that's something that as a coach took me a little time to learn as I first started working with athletes, like as individuals, especially those that want to be competitive and sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes like somebody that wants to be competitive in the sport and wants to get a muscle up, for example, they might be like, I don't know, a year away